Pixel 4a leaked like a champ, but sadly delayed. And the 2020 iPhone SE, similar design, yet iPhone 11-like internals. Two completely different devices, one main group of consumers. The Pixel 4a and iPhone SE are very similar to what they are trying to achieve, but the execution divides into two different paths. The question is, which device is the better buy in 2020? Pixel 4a or iPhone SE? Well, let's dive right in and see which is the better buy. Design. The Pixel 4a looks awfully familiar, and that's because it strongly resembles the Pixel 4. Now, you can obviously find it for much cheaper, but the build quality and design is actually pretty good. It's made out of plastic, which isn't premium, but it really does feel premium, like it feels great in the hand. I'm sure that the use of plastic is to keep the cost of the price down. The buttons along the side are super clicky. While it might be a minor detail, it's one that again makes the phone feel so much more premium than it actually is. The Pixel 4a also has a rear-facing fingerprint sensor, which I think is a great choice. It's got a headphone jack, USB-C, dual speakers, and a 5.8-inch Full HD OLED display, which is just insanely good, especially for its price. The hole punch and having less bezel on the phone really helps it feel quote-unquote compact and comparable to the iPhone SE, and is a huge welcoming to Google's weird evolution of design. This is the first time Google has given the Pixel 4a a more modern design with less bezel and more screen. So overall, design on the Pixel 4a is respectable. Now, the iPhone SE. This is where things get very bland, boring, unexciting. This design has been around since 2014, starting from the iPhone 6, but it resembles the iPhone 8 the most with its glass back and no headphone jack. Good thing the glass bag supports wireless charging. The front has huge bezels which are accompanied by Touch ID. The iPhone SE also has dual speakers like the Pixel 4a. This design is definitely not 2020 standards, but it seems that people are fine with this design, and we all know that only Apple could pull this off by releasing a recycled design with updated specs. I'm not that annoyed with this design actually, but imagine if Google re-released the Nexus 5 with updated specs like 8 gigs of RAM and Snapdragon 865 or 765G. Would people buy it? Other than tech enthusiasts, probably not. While I don't mind the super old design of the iPhone SE, I would choose the Pixel 4a instead. It's more modern and up to date, and I really don't like the Lightning connector. If only Apple would go USB-C on the iPhone. They went USB-C for the MacBook and the iPad, so one would expect them to go USB-C on the iPhone. But I don't think they will. Who knows? Software. The Pixel 4a and iPhone SE are two totally different devices with completely opposite softwares. iOS on the iPhone and Android on the Pixel 4a. And I know many people are committed to either using iOS or Android. So, when it comes to software, it is all about you, the user. I use both platforms, and they really are both great in their own terms. Both Android and iOS get the job done either way. The Pixel 4a and the iPhone SE run the latest software. The Pixel 4a running the Android 11 beta, at least on my device, and the iPhone SE on its iOS 14 beta. Now, I'm running the beta software on both of these devices to test out what's new in the upcoming version updates. I wouldn't recommend to get the beta for a normal average consumer, but I do it just to test out what's coming new. One important key thing for devices is not what they're running right now, but how long they'll receive software updates. If you haven't guessed it, the iPhone is going to do a better job. Expect 4 to 5 years of software updates. That means you can be using the iPhone SE potentially with the latest software in 2025, realistically. As for the Pixel 4a, you are only guaranteed 3 years of software updates. So we'll see the Pixel 4a run Android 11, 12, and 13. However, with the Pixel 4a's less powerful chipset, how well will Android 13 run on it in 3 years? The iPhone SE has the latest chipset from Apple, so obviously newer software will run smoother on there. Can you use the Pixel 4a in 5 years? Technically, yes. New and updated apps just may not be supported, and like I said before, its ease of use will quickly diminish. The bells and whistles of both iOS and Android are out there and clear as day. The iPhone hasn't really given as much customizability as Android would, at least until iOS 14. With Google, they don't add anything to Pixel 4a, like no custom features or add-ons or those bloatware, whatever it is, just pure stock Android. Pixel devices are Google's way of showcasing what they envision their operating system to look like. Now, if you're an Android user but wants to try out the iOS ecosystem but also keep those Google services, you can still do that by installing Google services like Gmail and Google Keep, Google News, whatever it is, on your iPhone. I do want to address the question, which platform would I choose? Man, honestly, I would say Android, especially when we focus on these two specific devices. I'm a huge fan of pure stock Android, and I have mainly shifted the use of my iPhone SE to business and work for the channel instead. I'm just so used to Android's features, and it takes me a quick minute to adjust to iOS. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, I'd really appreciate if you can give this video a thumbs up and turn on the bell notifications, as it does help out the YouTube algorithm and pushes my content to more people. Camera. This is where things get heated. Pixel 4a camera. If there's something you should know, it's that Google has nailed computational photography, and their Pixel devices prove that. Now the Pixel 4a is no different. Both the 4a and the iPhone SE have one camera lens, and believe me, they are both super good. I've never been that person who was super keen on my smartphone camera, but let me tell you, the Pixel 4a has changed that. It's 12 megapixels, which it shares with the Pixel 4, 3a, and 3. The Pixel 4a camera lens, the module is the same as a 4, 3a, and 3. And in my case, that's good. Daytime, night sight, portrait photos, whatever they may be, they really impress me. The things one camera lens can accomplish is just wild. It really begs the question, do we really need 2, 3, 4, or even 5 camera lenses on a smartphone? Most definitely not, especially at this price point. Like I said, the iPhone SE has one single rear camera which comes in at 12 megapixels, which is actually really good thanks to the help of the A13 Bionic chip. Now, there isn't night mode on the iPhone SE, and at first, I didn't mind it too much. However, if the Pixel 4a can have it, I think the iPhone SE could have had it too. Ever since I've had this 4a, I've actually been pretty bummed out that the iPhone SE doesn't have one. Anyway, for my use of the iPhone SE camera, the daylight photos come out very good and they actually hold their ground on the Pixel 4a. When it comes to video, in my opinion, the iPhone SE is a clear winner, and you know what I mean if you have used an iPhone before. If this phone that you're going to purchase is going to be used for YouTube, vlogging, social media, or your main powerhouse for photos, but especially videos, I would say go with the iPhone SE. The Pixel 4a isn't bad by any means in terms of video, and I do see that slight improvement from the Pixel 3a and the 4, but the stabilization, especially on the SE, is much better. I'm going to leave some photo samples of each phone on screen, and I'll have you choose, because obviously this all comes down to preference, right? Now, I personally love the slightly sharper photos on the Pixel, so the 4a hands down is my choice. But don't let my opinion discourage you though, because neither phone will disappoint. So this is the front-facing camera video on the 2020 iPhone SE. If you're looking to record video on your smartphone and use it for whatever, if it's for social media, gaming, YouTube, whatever it is, I think iPhone is the way to go. And this is the front-facing camera video quality on the Google Pixel 4a. Honestly, the phone I'm using right now, the Pixel 4a and the iPhone SE, these guys are amazing mid-range devices. $350, I mean, without tax, for the Pixel 4a and $400 for the iPhone SE. I mean, you can't go wrong. For photos, Pixel 4a knocks everyone. It's like literally flagship quality, but at literally more than half the price of flagship we get today. And for video, I actually see an improvement from like the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 4. So good job, Google. Keep improving on video quality. Battery. The Pixel 4a does perform better. Let me tell you that. I've been getting around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time. The phone lasts me the entire day, and I end the night with about 15 to 20%, which is much better than the iPhone SE. It's 3,140 mAh battery paired with the less power-hungry Snapdragon 730G, and its Full HD display really does help with the outcome of the battery life. Its fast charge also does come in clutch. Its fast charge coming in at 18 watts also does come in clutch. Now the 4a doesn't have wireless charging due to its plastic bag, but I'll let that pass for now. With the iPhone SE, it doesn't last as long anymore due to my usage. I've been using it a little bit more, so social media, watching YouTube videos, playing Call of Duty. I tend to charge it twice a day before the evening if I really push it. If I just occasionally respond to some emails, text, browse the web, or use social media. So like when I first got this device, the battery issue wouldn't have been a problem. It wasn't a problem back then, it would have been a problem now. The iPhone SE is more of a light work usage phone, coming in with a battery size of 1821 mAh. For an average consumer, I think this phone's battery should be fine. However, if you're consistently on your phone like me, get ready to charge your phone or carry around a portable charger. It's a good thing that the iPhone SE does support 18 watts fast charging and wireless charging, so you won't have any issue when juicing up the phone. The only issue is if you want that fast charging of 18 watts, you have to go and buy a separate charger, but that's Apple for you. I gotta give credit to Apple for the iPhone SE standby time. The iPhone SE will not drain a single percent when not in use. Like, the most I've seen was literally 1%. You can wake up in the morning with either the same percentage or maybe have lost 1%, but I can't say the same for the Pixel 4a. I lose about 5 to 6% by the morning, and while that does not sound like a lot, the numbers do add up during the day. We look at phones in 2020 and they come packed with a 5,000 mAh battery like the Galaxy S20 Ultra, or even a 6,000 mAh battery like the Asus ROG Phone 3. And while that's amazing, phones like the Pixel 4a and iPhone SE consume less, so they don't need that big of a capacity. Obviously, we know who the winner is in terms of battery life, and that is the Pixel 4a. Extras. Both phones have quick charge at 18 watts, although, like I said before, you need to buy the fast charger separately for the iPhone. Only the SE has wireless charging. The Pixel 4a has a headphone jack. The iPhone does not. They both have a physical fingerprint sensor. I count this as an extra because, well, companies have shifted away from this option, and now we're getting in-display fingerprint sensors, which is also an extra feature, as well as Face ID. Also, there are tons of people who still prefer the physical fingerprint sensor. One thing I really like is that the iPhone SE, like all other iPhones, has that physical slider to mute your volume, and to be honest, this comes in super clutch. OnePlus also has something very similar like the iPhone on their devices, and I really do appreciate it. It's still quite surprising that other companies didn't adopt this feature. Price. The 128GB Pixel 4a comes in at $349 with 6 gigs of RAM. There is only one size and one configuration, so it's a one-size-fits-all approach. As for the iPhone SE, the 64GB configuration comes in at $399. Now, I think that the perfect option for the SE is the 128GB for $449. 128GB is actually the sweet spot for both devices. However, Google offers a larger configuration at $100 less if you think about it. Granted, $450, $400, even $350, these prices aren't really cheap. That's quite a lot of money, especially during these tough times the world is going through. People have to spend their money more carefully than ever before, and $350 can actually make quite a buzz. However, when you compare them to something like the $1,000 iPhone 11 Pro or the $1,300 Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, then these phones are considered more as budget friendly. Being a tech content creator and reviewing devices like these two, it is quite normal for me and for other creators to own them. Actually, the reason why I have both of these devices is because of you guys, the viewers, the subscribers. I'm super grateful that all of you who support the channel make my dream of reviewing these devices become a reality. But if I need to weigh my opinion in terms of pricing, for $350, the Google Pixel 4a is the better pick. That extra $50 or $100 if you were to go for the 128 iPhone SE can actually make a huge difference. You can buy, an extra charger, an extra case, whatever it is for your Pixel 4a. But if you have that extra money and want to try out the Apple ecosystem, the iPhone SE will not disappoint either. Verdict. So, who wins? Look, if I say Pixel 4a, iPhone users will comment down below. And if I say iPhone SE, Pixel users will do the same thing. That is why I leave the better buy to you, the viewer, the subscriber. I'll still voice my opinion. But whether you want the Pixel 4a or iPhone SE, that all comes down to you and your preference. You need to think about what you look for in a phone and which ecosystem you prefer using. $400 is the perfect price to enter the Apple ecosystem, especially with a brand new iPhone. The Pixel 4a is the perfect Google phone they have probably put out on the market for what they're offering, at least in my opinion. The battle between iOS and Android will continue on, and there's no stopping that. It's crucial to let everyone voice their own opinion and can favor whatever platform they like. Both platforms fulfill a person's needs and desires. The only difference is how each Android and iOS attacks that specific problem. Both the 4a and the iPhone SE are a perfect buy, but my choice is, I'm going to have to say, I would have to side with the Pixel 4a. Now, if you watch my Galaxy S10e versus iPhone SE video, I went and chose the iPhone SE, but this time it's different. We're focusing on two devices. So for $350, the Pixel 4a is the perfect Android device for its price, and especially one of the best Pixel devices that Google has come out with. Albeit, my opinion will also apply to a lot of other people. The 4a has the essentials that many people look for in a phone anyway, and it doesn't make any big sacrifices that will affect the way a person uses the phone. Especially for me, it doesn't really affect the way I use a phone. Obviously, the ultimate decision is yours, but you guys wanted my opinion. My opinion is Pixel 4a. They are both very capable phones. Do you want a device that meets 2020 standards regarding design and rocks one of the best camera systems, or are you looking for the top-of-the-line chipset in a similar design we've gotten used to? Whichever phone you decide to go with, they are both great choices. Anyway, everybody, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to superman that like button, comment down below, because with the more interactions we get on this video, not only helps the video and the channel, but also pushes the video out to more viewers. And best of all, superman that subscribe button. Until next time, everybody, and until next video, this is MTG.